and this is common, by the way, for people that have never actually taken the time to record a conversation with a bureaucrat. It's very common that when you tell a bureaucrat that you're recording the call, they will terminate the conversation.
Correct. Especially if it's something that they don't want anybody knowing what they're saying. Now, if you just call up and, tell the clerk at City Hall, hey, I'm recording this call. How much is a dog license? That's basically public info. They'll be
Most
like $5.
Most of the time they'll be okay, but not always. Sometimes they just don't like being recorded.
Right.
And whether they have something to hide or not, sometimes they just don't like it, and they'll hang up. So,
and that begs a good question,
sure.
Ian. We could talk about recording calls because typically most states, I believe, they have the whole kind of either one party or two party consent.
That's right.
Of recording phone calls. What do y'all think overall about recording phone calls? Do you think no phone calls should be recorded, or do you think they should? Because I think people can look at it both ways.
Well, there are a lot of people who want to protect privacy of conversations, and I understand that. But when it comes to interacting with a government bureaucrat, I think they should all be on the record.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I think that every one of those calls that you make to a government bureaucrat should be on the record, because you never know what's going to come out of that bureaucrat's mouth. I mean, it could be a threat. It could be a lie.
Yeah.
You had a conversation earlier we talked about in the first hour where you were lied to in person. And so whether it's on the phone or whether it's in person, I fully recommend that people document their interactions with these people, because it's so common that bureaucrats will be dishonest, or maybe they're just misinformed. Maybe the bureaucrat themselves doesn't actually know what the law says. That's very common, where they themselves have no clue, but they're just spouting off of what they think it might say. They may have been told incorrectly by a higher up. They may misremember. So I don't want to say that every time the bureaucrat is lying, but ultimately misinformation is frequently given by bureaucrats. And if you don't have a record of it, then they could say anything they want to about what you said to them. They could make up that you insulted them or were rude to them, even though you weren't. And if they're rude to you or they insult you, you can't prove that either.
So you're saying phone calls should be recorded specifically regarding government, but elsewhere, what do you think that should be private to the people?
I think that it depends on the circumstance, right? Like if you're talking with somebody who you are a friend with, then there's probably no reason to record that conversation. If you're talking with somebody who, let's say, is a business and you want to get something on the record because you've been treated poorly in the past, I think you should be able to record those calls. But in some states, it's illegal to record without informing the other party, and so you get into some hot water if you do. We're coming up.